Civil unrest going on in South Africa is long overdue. The people there has been oppressed since apartheid, and just still apartheid still going on now, to be honest. They're still segregated, heavily segregated in South Africa. And so the former president, Jacob Zuma, I guess he got arrested, and and the people used that excuse to protest. The riot. They're going through the malls and breaking down the stores and grocery stores and helping themselves. I mean, to be honest, they deserve it. I mean, South Africa, um, the current South Africa, hasn't respected South Africans for a very long time. Not the black South Africans. I mean, so it's like a payment long overdue. And unfortunately, the wrongs of Cecil Rhodes, the guy who started the beers, the Rhodes Scholarship. A lot of you guys probably received the Rhodes Scholarship, feeling very noble and special, which you should, because the Rhodes Scholarship usually goes to very intelligent people who have high GPAs in high school. But get this, a lot of us didn't know that the scholarship came with a lot of blood money, that our ancestors paid for it. So he did that. He created a Rhodes Scholarship, or it was created in his name, to right the wrongs of what he did to the South African people, enslaving them on the diamond and gold mines down there. I mean, he made a fortune. He even started the Beers Diamonds down there, and which was an international company, selling diamond jewelry all around the world. Definitely throughout the U.S., there's the beer stores throughout the United States. So I definitely want to chime in and say a few words regarding what's happening in South Africa, and of course, it's going to calm down. The people are the I guess you can say the leaders of the community are protecting the stores and trying to get things organized, but it is uh, a cry for reparations, a true cry for reparations. Whenever you see civil disorder, that means that the government has failed the people. When you see rioting like that, the government has failed the people. When you see people are starving to death and dying of simple diseases like cholera, which can easily be cured with just clean water, the government has failed the people. In South Africa, many of you guys remember a gentleman that goes by the name, he died some years ago, Nelson Mandela. His wife just recently died, former wife, Winnie Mandela. Rest in peace to both of them. But Nelson Mandela is a very interesting individual because he actually, I would say, betrayed his people for his freedom, because he was supposed to continue to fight, against apartheid, but he didn't. They freed him out of prison after he served, I believe, roughly about 30 years, 28, 30 years in prison. Shout out to him for sacrificing his life like that. He was going to serve life in prison. He was not going to let him go because he was such a formidable force in the fight for black rights in South Africa. But when he got out, a lot of people just was happy because he was free and he became president. But there was a deal, you would be the leader, you'd be the black face for white power, just like President Obama, to put him in office, but let us run our scams and things like that, so that people will be so bamboozled and hoodwinked by the fact that a black man, a woman, is a president of a country who was put in power. But while the white supremacists of apartheid, white supremacists here in the United States, and whoever they are still running and still have the power. They still have the economic control of the economic resources and assets, and that's imperialism, and that's what people like Cecil Rhodes did. They extended the power of the mother country. Cecil Rhodes from Britain, right? You have plenty of imperialistic cases out there. You have also, who else could I name? Belgium in the Congo, perfect example. He was imperialist, he was in Belgium, but extended his power into the Congo, But with Nelson Mandela, You know, that was what you call neocolonialism. Neocolonialism, when they would take the you don't have to have the white man in power. You can use someone black. You know, that's what you know what I'm saying. Colonialism is. You know what I'm saying. So neocolonialism, you use a black person to be the face of the power, right? And then they still running their games while we so happy and butt licking and buck dancing and barbecuing and parading around, thinking because we got a black person in power, that we have arrived and a white Jesus has come to save us. And we need to get out of that real quick, because as a black community, I don't care if you're talking about South Africa, Congo, as is mentioned, Haiti, or even here in the U.S., if we don't get down to the nitty gritty of things and really taking back control of our sovereignty as a people, creating an actual black nation. You know, when you talk about black nation, people think, oh, you're talking about you know, black supremacy and you know, anti-white and this and that, and that's not necessarily the case. As a member of the African community, I have to look out for my people. When Jewish people come to the U.S., what they do? Look out for their Jewish allies, the Jewish community. When Asians come, they open up their stores. They hire Asian people right in the black community. Hating our guts, Arabs, they do the same thing. You know, Hispanics and Cubans, they do the same thing. But it's not looked at as racism. It's looked at looking out for the people. But for us, when we do that, we looked at as racist. You know, and we're trained, you know, don't look at color. You know what I'm saying? God don't look at color. If God didn't look at color, God would have never gave us a color, a skin color. And that puts us at a disadvantage, because as we're playing checkers, these world powers are playing chess, and they've been playing chess. They have decisions and policies planned out for 50 to 100 years in advance. So we way behind the ball game. And the more we progress into the years and industrialism, politics, plagues, and you know, we just had a quarantine of COVID. The more we progress as a society in these different situations, these calamities, these different atrocities are happening, we were falling further and further behind, because as these incidents such as, you know, the riots right now in South Africa, the assassination of the Haitian president, Joel Moise, it starts to make people actually begin to lose hope in themselves, lose hope in the government, lose hope, more importantly, in the future. Now, when you lose hope, you lose faith. So therefore, now you're losing faith in the Creator and the power of the Creator in you, the God in you, your energy. And that's where the problem lies, because what made our ancestors powerful is they believed that they were they were gods, that they believed. When you're talking about General Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Henry Christophe, Queen Nzinga, you know, Imhotep, Akhenaten, Nefertiti, whoever you want to name, Shaka Zulu, they believed that they had God in them, and they were powerful in their own right, and that they had a predestined, their destinies were already called for. You know what I'm saying? They were predestined for greatness. And when you lose sight of that, now you fall traps to what the Europeans always wanted, you know, because they have to extract your hope, extract your self-identity, your culture, your self-will, your self-determination, and replace that with whatever game plan they have for us to degrade ourselves, to disrespect our women, to kill our women, rape our women, to beat our kids, molest our kids, rob our community. It goes on and on and on, you know. And so if we don't deal with the injustices that have been placed on our countries, on our nations, injustices that have been done to our ancestors, we're going to see a lot more cases of what's going on right now in South Africa. We're going to see a lot more of that right here in the United States. We're going to continue seeing civil unrest in Haiti. We're going to continue seeing more assassinations. We're going to start seeing more plagues, more viruses. And guess what? Black community, wherever you are, the African diaspora, We're not prepared. We're still sitting here waiting on Jesus. But I tell you what, Jesus could be waiting on you. It's time for us to wake up and actually start educating our children, taking control of the education of our children so they can understand how great and powerful they are, so that they're not being taught and trained and brainwashed in white supremacy and thinking that everything right, everything right is white. You know, they need to start seeing themselves as black excellence. You know, like Marcus Garvey used to always preach and talk about, and in his lectures and his videos, and just, you know, in general, you know, seeing yourself as perfect, seeing the perfection in your culture, and not hating your culture, which they have been successful in doing. So, but anyway, I definitely hope the people in South Africa is all right. You know, that, you know, the massacres that happened during apartheid and the land thievery that happened in South Africa is corrected. You know, this is far bigger than Jacob Zuma, way bigger than him. They just use him as a scapegoat so they can go ahead and riot and do their thing. They was waiting for that ever since Nelson Mandela sold them out. And I'm going to explain further why I said Nelson Mandela sold him out, because even though he was a great leader, he was a leader of hope, an image of hope. At the end of the day, he was the president, but the power and resources, political and economic power, and also land was still in the hands of the whites. You feel me? So what was the point of him being president? They still gonna have all the power. I mean, so I definitely understand why Winnie Mandela was angered by him and didn't want to be married to him anymore, because he felt like he was a traitor. And it took me a while to understand that, but now I get it. So anyway, don't believe the hype. You know, y'all keep doing your thing. Check me out, KingKevinDorival.com. And yeah, be blessed. Peace.